If you're looking for a new way to support the podcast, check out Dubby.gg, an energy supplement company trying to make a difference. There, you can use code SIDEMISSION for 10% off your order. Thank you to Dubby for sponsoring this episode, and we hope you enjoy.
Welcome into the newest episode of Side Mission. I, like always, am your host, Rusty Ellis, joined by the boys, Kyle Lynch and Matt Beck, and today we are talking about Doom: The Dark Ages, a game that all three of us were massively excited for, and a game that I think, in a lot of aspects, lived up to that excitement. There's some fair critiques to go about, but I think we all agree, Doom: The Dark Ages, and a very, very fun game, especially when you factor in that you can also play it for free on Game Pass, something that Matt and I said was a massive positive for Expedition 33, the fact that we were able to play it for free there. Doom: The Dark Ages, very much the same thing here. So, Kyle, I'm going to start with you as we dive right in. Combat-wise, I don't know that id has ever done better combat than in a Doom game than this game here. I mean, this feels like peak Doom combat.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there, man. This combat is wild, and I'll just go ahead and knock it out right away. I know a lot of people are upset that they removed the glory kills. I thought the glory kills were cool, too, in Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. I will say, though, it did take, that 4 or 5 second animation. It takes you right out of, just the motion of the combat, especially in a game like Doom Eternal, where it was a very fast-paced. I think that's when I noticed, especially, I don't know, while the glory kills are cool, my other thing about it is I'm watching the same animation every time. They switch it up. There's different animations, but, I'm watching the same animation pool from the same enemies, in the beginning of the game as I am at the end of the game. They don't really change that much, and so, the glory kills, I feel like, were really just a shock factor the first time you see them. The 50th time you see it, it's like, okay, I just want the health and armor. And I think that's why I don't really care much that they changed them, and I actually think the glory strikes worked really well in this, because by the end of the game, when I would just be seeing the same animations anyways, I was flying through that combat, blocking, parrying, shooting. I was going crazy with the combat. I think the melee even as well, they gave you 3 different melee options, and each one were fantastic. Now, they did take out the chainsaw, the classic chainsaw, and they removed it with the shield, or they replaced it with the shield. But again, that's another change that I think really fits this combat playstyle.
I do too. I think that's the big positive to the melee combat as a whole is I don't feel like really any of the 3 options, whether it was the mace, the strike, or the I can't remember what the last one was called. It was like the dread mace, the dread mace or whatever.
Something
it was called
like that,
something
yeah.
like that. But it was one of those that, you could only use it once, but it would give you an insane amount of health on a fully charged strike. It had a positive to it, whereas the ball and chain, I think, is more what I mained the entire time, because I just felt like it was the most effective, it was the quickest, and I was able to get right back into the action. But I think, Kyle, you're spot on. Whereas the glory kills, they were a lot of fun. They were a lot of fun when they were in the game, but it did feel a little immersion breaking that they take you out of the action for this 15-second long animation, and then you're kind of just tossed right back into it, where this, it feels like you get those iframes for 2 or 3 quick seconds, and then you're right back around moving, and you really don't miss a beat. It really goes, it almost feels like a rhythm game to an extent, where it's like you're finding your rhythm around the battlefield. And I feel like that is where this combat really shines, especially considering just how many demons they put on screen at one time in this game. There are a lot of them. Matt, in that same vein of the combat, the guns are fantastic. And the guns are always a highlight of Doom. It was like that in 2016. It was like that with Eternal, and it's like that here with Dark Ages. This, it felt like every weapon was viable, and that everyone that has a certain play style, there was a gun that fit that play style outside of maybe stealth, because it's Doom, there is no stealth. But
yeah.
Matt, the gun design was another massive positive, obviously.
Yeah, and the variety of the weapons was really great too. I mean, I loved using the shotgun. It's very classic Doom. I love the Shredder. I thought that was fantastic. And then the one that we were talking about with the ball and chain, I love doing that one too. It felt great when you get that strike, and then it does, it deals a lot of damage to the enemies, even to the point where it gets them to where you can break their armor, which was really satisfying to do. And I also love the fact that like every weapon like had its own upgrade tree, which really made those weapons like pop. And I love the fact that like once you fully upgraded them, you get like these challenges that you do, which I'm still working on some of those. Like, I mean, they did a lot here, and on top of that, when we were just talking about the shield, I think that was also a great addition. Just tossing that thing and killing this like the weaker enemies was just really satisfying, especially when you had some challenges where you have to get so many kills in a certain number of seconds. Like that shield, like did a lot for me to complete those challenges. And then just using the shield to deflect, like enemies attack you, and sometimes their attacks are green. Just that the sound design when you deflect it and shoot it right back at them was really satisfying too. Like, I mean, I didn't play much of Doom Eternal. I did play Doom 2016, but this is a massive update to like the gunplay.
I think that in that same vein of the shield and the thing that really takes it to the next level, because it would have been cool if like, okay, there's the parry and that's really it. That would have almost been enough for me personally. The rune and the rune effects that you get for the shield really tie everything together as well. I thought like the one where like if you parry a ranged attack and you are successful, it'll rain down lightning onto the enemies that shot it at you, and if you upgrade it continuously, it'll chain that lightning together to several other enemies to where you could just wipe out an entire horde in one parry. There's obviously the Earthshaker one, I think it was called that, where it's you parry it successfully, whether it's an up-close attack or a range attack, and it just sends this shockwave out that knocks every enemy backwards. Like, I just thought that those, as well as all the melee upgrades, I loved all of those as well. Like, those were just a lot of fun.
The little turret was cool, too, once you parried an attack, and a little turret just popped up, and you upgrade that shit. Yeah, that was good.
It's these different abilities that allow you to just shred through all these demons. To the point of, you fight the I don't know how to pronounce some of these words, I'm not going to lie, the Vagary champion early on, or like you fight them early on, and they're kind of a threat early on in the game when you only have like your combat shotgun. You might have the pulverizer at that point, which the pulverizer was my favorite weapon in the game. The one where it's just the skull that's being grinded and it's shooting out like pieces of the skull, and it's got a widespread. I loved that. I loved that personally, and that to me was like the most creative thing I think that they put into this game was weapons like that. Like that felt very Dark Ages, and I loved that. But early on, like these champions are very, very tough. But by the time you get a lot of these upgrades and you get further in, you can feel yourself becoming the Doomslayer. And I think that's one of the most special parts of this game is, and Kyle, you mentioned it before I started the game. You mentioned this to me. It's the first game in a while where you feel chunky. You feel very meaty as the Doomslayer. Like you feel like you're moving slower, and you should be. You still have a good amount of mobility, but I like that they had that more grounded feel to it as well. It didn't feel like I was just zooming around the map. It also didn't feel like I was too slow, but I felt like they balanced that really well.
Yeah, I also love the fact that when you jump from high off, like, you jump up from high and you just crash into the ground and you just send a shockwave that kills all the demons surrounding you.
Yes.
Satisfying. Very satisfying.
Kyle, the story was great, too. For a Doom game, I felt like this story was really good.
I enjoyed the story. What really surprised me was the fact that we got, like, pre-rendered cutscenes and shit. Because this is the first time Doom has done that. It's usually been, like, in-game kind of how Bethesda does their games. The cutscenes are usually, what you're seeing in gameplay, that's what you're getting in the cutscene. And it was pretty impressive to see them actually pulling off a full story with cutscenes and everything, because again, also, a lot of the Doom games hasn't been, like, really in your face with the story. I mean, the basics of it, yes, but I mean, I feel like this one gave a lot more than the previous ones did. The previous Doom games, from the first one all the way to Eternal, it was really heavy on the lore and, you know, stuff that you can, like, read and extra shit. This one I like, because, it was very much in your face with the story. It laid it out. I enjoyed it a lot, and I also think that for as much as I did enjoy this game, I had a couple of complaints about how this game ran. And Rusty, I know you said that you didn't run into a lot of, like, bugs and glitches.
Yeah, I was shocked when you said that, you know, because Matt, you said your game crashed, and Kyle, you said you ran into, like, several glitches. Yeah. I was really surprised because I saw reviews that said that, but I never ran into any of them. I could have been fooled into thinking that was just maybe a bad copy of the game without a day one patch. But the fact that you guys experienced issues is not good.
Yeah. I had one. I had to actually reload a prior save because my objective wouldn't update for some reason, and I couldn't progress in the game. It was literally broken, so I had to just reload an older save, and that was fucking annoying. There were multiple times where my game would glitch out on tracking for my different, like, you know, the missions you can do in the game. There was
the tracking was bad. Yeah,
there were times I fell through the map. I mean, I know that this is a Bethesda game, but, like, I'm not gonna just give them the excuse of, oh, it's a Bethesda game. Bethesda, fix your fucking shit, dude. It's bad that you're known for that, but
it is very frustrating that they are very known for that, and yet it happens every time.
Every fucking time.
I was going to say, I actually have a glitch I did not tell you guys about. So, you know, like how in certain parts of the map you have to defeat a horde of demons in order to clear it. So I actually had a demon that spawned underground, and I had to restart the game because I couldn't progress because that demon was still considered.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I do now remember a couple of times where, and I told Kyle about another issue I had. It's a very minor issue. I said I wasn't even sure if I was going to bring it up, but I'm going to bring it up just because it was weird. And Kyle, you said it happened to you a couple times. But I did have something similar to that happen where I thought I'd cleared the area of all the demons, and I'd run around for like 5-10 minutes, like looking for the last demon. I couldn't find it. And then I'd just kind of like restart the checkpoint, and I'd spawn in and the portal was gone. And I'm like, what? Okay, so that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, I was like, so I did clear it all, and the game for some reason just did not pick up that I'd cleared it all. Like, that was weird. But the other thing that happened to me, and I thought it was weird when it happened the first time, I thought maybe I misclicked, maybe that is probably a me issue. But then it happened multiple times throughout the rest of the playthrough that I had. After you clear a mission, when it goes press X to do the next chapter, I hit X a lot to start the next chapter, and the game reacted as if I hit the circle button to go back.
Yeah, that's happened to me. I was
like, the first time I was like, maybe I misclicked. Like, maybe that's me. Maybe that's just a user error. And then it happened repeatedly throughout the rest of my playthrough. And I was like, okay, something's not right here, because I'm definitely hitting X. And Matt, in your case, like, you're definitely hitting A. Like, it's like I'm definitely hitting the right button, but for some reason it's picking up that I'm not. And again, it may seem like a very small complaint, but it's like, that's not a small deal when I'm playing this game and it's big on minute-to-minute gameplay, and I'm constantly having to reload my save at the main menu because it's taking me back to the main menu when I don't want to go there. So that is a good segue into critiques, because Kyle, my biggest one, and this was my biggest issue with this game entirely, and there is a lot of background to this that I will let you talk about because you know a little bit more about this than I do. And Matt, you probably know about it as well. And I heard about it in looking stuff up. The music in this game is very disappointing. It's very, very disappointing. And it's not necessarily that the music is bad. It's that the music is really quiet. And it's overpowered by the sounds of the gameplay. And it's overpowered in a bad, bad way. Like, so much so that if you go back to Doom Eternal and you load it up and you play the first level, the gameplay and the soundtrack are mixed very well together. Like, you hear both. You can tell both. You can distinguish between the two, and it's great. In this, you have to like really be listening for the music because the gameplay sounds just overwhelm it and they overpower it. And Kyle, that's disappointing because it's Doom. It's a series that's known for its music. It's known for its metal. And it feels like this was very much lacking in that regard.
Yeah, it really was. And it's partially... A big reason is because of the studio's mistreatment of Mick Gordon, the guy who did Bethesda's, Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal's soundtrack. He's done a couple of other soundtracks for Bethesda. I believe he worked on Wolfenstein as well. But there's a lot of other stuff you can look into that if you want to at your own time. I think that this soundtrack is the weakest of this trilogy. I don't understand how the mixing got so fucked to where, like Rusty said, if you go back and you play, 2016 or Eternal, you can hear that soundtrack mixed very well with the combat and everything going on. I more times than not couldn't hear the music in this game over what was going on. It was not mixed well. The music was
even
all right,
if you turn it up.
Yeah,
even if you turn it up, like it was hard to hear.
It also wasn't very memorable. Like, dude, Doom 2016 soundtrack was memorable as shit. But this one was very generic. It served the game, but the mixing was just terrible. I really don't understand how they bombed that part so bad that, like, when I was playing the game, I would try to listen for the music because, like Rusty said again, that's something this franchise is known for. I couldn't hear shit. I couldn't really pick out anything. I couldn't tell you a single level that had like a song that I was like, man, I like that one. Or any soundtrack from this game I think that I really enjoyed because I listened to it all on Spotify and it was good, but from the game itself, it's just not very memorable at all, unfortunately, and I miss that. I think that it will never be as good as 2016 and Eternal, and that's really depressing, honestly.
No, I agree. I think that's Doom, and again, there are probably people out there that are just listening that aren't big Doom fans that are like, well, it seems like a very minor complaint to music. But, Matt, we just learned from Expedition 33 that, like, a great soundtrack can really tie a game together, can really put a game over the top. Because Expedition soundtrack was fantastic. I think we all agreed that you look at Split Fiction and its sound design and its soundtrack, and it was really damn good as well. Like, you look at all the games that we've loved this year, and it feels like one constant across the board is the soundtrack is fantastic and the sound design is fantastic. And it just felt like something was missing, and the lack of Mick Gordon, it's very, very apparent here. It's very apparent. So it's like when somebody that's not John Williams tries to write the music for Star Wars. Star Wars is known for John Williams and his composition. And when someone else tries to write it, it doesn't sound like John Williams. And it's not inherently a bad thing, but in this circumstance, it's not necessarily a good thing either. Matt, we all talked about this as well earlier. It's something that I think all three of us felt. It feels like, despite the fact that this is in a time period where I feel like they could have been really creative in environment design and atmosphere.
Yeah.
It felt very lacking across the board. It felt very much like you're looking at kind of the same environments and the same textures kind of throughout the entire game, and that's a little disappointing.
Yeah, the level design definitely didn't stick out as much as previous Doom games. I think you could ask me, hey, what was your favorite level? And, as much as I don't really like levels where you swim, I think that the level that plays underwater ships, like the sunken ship, was probably the most unique. You said I hate that to me was the most unique and the only one that stuck out because everything else was just literally, barren outside, what you expect from castles like barracks and like wooden planks up and spike, like that kind of thing, and castles off in the distance. Like, absolutely, it's the time frame line that this takes place. Makes sense that that's what you see. But I mean, this is Doom. You could be so experimental. Even when you went to hell, I was disappointed because that was just again, it was just like the
So
same.
generic.
Yeah, it was just very generic, honestly, and like some of the hidden areas, like obviously, I did appreciate the fact that like you didn't have to specifically look for the toys or the codexes or the skins for your weapons. Like it wasn't difficult. I mean, you'd come across it on the map, and it kind of it stayed there. You know what I mean? Like you could see the question marks, you could see the icons on the map, and it was a great way to reveal where it was. But some of the ways that they had you to get these things was just so tedious. Like it was like second to last level. They literally had 4 different things locked behind like keys, and I was just like, "There's so much backtracking." That was another issue that I had with the level design.
So that last level annoyed the hell out of me too, for the same reason. Because when I went and backtracked, there was no real, in my opinion, no easy way to get back to the very end. You basically had to go through the entire level again.
Yeah, yeah.
And it annoyed me. And like maybe I missed something very obvious, and if that's the case, that's on me. But I did feel very annoyed. But I was like, I just did all this platforming and all this puzzle solving just to have to do it again after I opened this shortcut because I couldn't find the damn shortcut because everything looked the same. I couldn't find the shortcut because everything looked the exact same. So I was like, I was annoyed by that.
Invisible walls were atrocious.
I guess I also was kind of disappointed in the main villain of this game as well, Prince Azrak, or Azrak, whatever you pronounce. I was very disappointed, and I was very disappointed into how the ending. And this is spoiler alert if we really need to put one up. If you don't want to hear the ending of the story, click away now, I guess. But like the ending of the story is very much like, oh, the Doomslayer's kind of just out there, and the fact that demons know he's out there—that's enough protection for the human race. It's Batman. It's like, so the fact that they know he's out there and that should be enough to stop crime or whatever. And it's just like, really? Like, I thought we were going to see more about like the origins of the Doomslayer, and maybe because it's a prequel to 2016, we might see how did he end up in that situation he was in at the start of 2016's Doom? How did he get there? Like, I would have loved to have seen, I guess, maybe a little bit of that. And I know that might be asking for a little too much, but it was just a very sudden ending, and the lack of just kind of Kyle. It was a very lackluster boss fight with Azrak. I didn't really love any time both of them. I didn't really love either. I'm like, you had to fight him 4 times the first time, and it's just the same fight with like a few added moves. That's all it is. It's just the same exact fight. They gave him. He can fly now. He flies now. That's it. Like now. He flies now. That's literally it. So it's like those were kind of lackluster. But the other thing that stuck out to me, and I really hadn't thought about it until you said something earlier today. They advertised a lot of the mech and the dragon just for that stuff to not be in the game hardly at all, and that bugs me.
I enjoyed the mech and the dragon levels, especially the dragon levels, because I was really concerned about how the controls were going to be. Turns out the controls great. You just hardly ever fucking use it. And another spoiler alert, when they kill the dragon, they want it to be like this big emotional moment, and I'm like, okay, it would be if I didn't only use him 3 out of 22 missions, you know?
Right.
Maybe if he was showing up all the time helping me, and, like, maybe if I could, like, call him in as, like, a passive ability or something, or, like, have him come in for other cutscenes and shit, that'd been, I don't know, it would have more of the effect that I think they wanted, but I don't know, it's just like, damn, we didn't get to spend any time with it, and then it's dead, so we know that because what I would like to see if they're gonna make another game, I know they're gonna do DLC to this game, but if they make another one, just make it a direct follow-up to this game and have it end with how he gets into 2016. But
yes,
now I know we're not even gonna have a fucking dragon, so maybe don't make a sequel. and the mechs were fucked by the end anyways. We used the King's mech, which is really fucking cool, but then that's it. And also, I totally got the vibe that the King was gonna turn bad in the beginning of the game.
Yes.
And then, like, he just, like, never did. He never really was even that important of a character.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
And like the Creed maker like betraying you was a very obvious plot point. Like that didn't shock me at all either. It's like there are just some things. There are just some things that didn't work. I think nearly as well as they wanted them to. Go ahead, Matt.
I said the boss fights was fun, but as far as the dragon goes, like even with what little we do with him, I mean, come on, you're the Doomslayer riding a dragon, and all you have him do is fly around, eventually just like shoot down these airships, and then just hit the dodge button, and then fly again some more. That's it.
Yeah.
Like that was disappointing. That was disappointing, and it's only like 3 times you get to use the dragon. Oh, and then occasionally you get to land. That's it.
Yeah.
It was like it basically turned into like Armored Core combat for a little bit. Like that's what it at least felt like to me when I was playing it. I was like, this just like it feels cool, like it's fun, but I wish there was more of it because he didn't really give me that much of it for me to really form that much of an opinion of it. I felt like it was kind of just like, yeah, it's here for a little bit, for like 5% of the game, it's here, but. I don't know. Like I really enjoyed the game, and I think you both did as well. It's just that there were a couple small things that really could have gone a long way. The game being more polished, the soundtrack being better and more present, and being better mixed with the game audio. Certain things in the story were a little predictable, even though I thought the story was really enjoyable and I liked it. There was a couple things that just didn't really hit clearly like they intended for them to. But I feel like we all agree this is still a really good game. What are y'all's closing remarks before we end this episode?
They found a way to get Deborah Wilson again to another game.
Again, exactly. Hey, listen, she doesn't look exactly like she looks in every other game she's in. She does look different.
It didn't take me out this time.
Kyle, what about you?
All I really gotta say is, this game, the combat was peak, but it does rank below Eternal. I think it was cool that we got to kind of see a more, modern Doom modern Doom game, that the combat was a little bit inspired by the original Doom games because it was very slow-paced back then. And they tried to speed it up where they could with the parries and the glory strikes. I thought this combat was great, but outside of that, I don't think there is a lot of things to look for in a sequel or even in a future Doom game. I think this might be it. This might be where you call it, make the DLC, and start a new property. I think that id Software has made their name in the Doom franchise, and I'd like to see something new from them.
And I agree 100%. I think it's a great place to wrap this episode up. So that is going to do it for this episode of Side Mission. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Side Mission Pod. You can check us out on Facebook as well at Side Mission Podcast. For the boys, for Kyle, for Matt, I'm Rusty. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.